Hi everyone, so I'm back and I have cut my pieces of my leftover digitals. Some are in pieces. What I'm going to do now is, I'm just showing you there, I'm going to sew around the edges. I'm not sewing across. I've worked out where I want to open those envelopes. I don't leave them open where they're supposed to be opened. We cover that up and then we sew around the actual paper. And what I've done here is I've gone ahead and glued them on. Now that was a bit of a boo-boo because if you remember in the first clip, I actually wanted to tuck those flaps in underneath. But that's okay. So that flap there, like those two flaps, you can see they just need to be cut so that they act like a hinge now. Obviously the bag won't be, but all of those flaps now just have to be cut like a hinge. What I was wanting to do was tuck them under. This one can't be because that bag is a lot smaller. I decided to put the bag on top of the craft envelope, not behind it. But these ones like this, as you can see, that should have been tucked under that sewn piece of paper before I did that. So I'll go ahead and cut all those. I've gone ahead and cut all those flaps off in the next stage, but I'm just working out where I want them all to sit at the moment. That last little envelope is going to be actually flipping down. I changed my mind with that one. So you'll see it when it goes a little bit further, excuse me, where I put that. So what I'm doing is I'm just cutting off a tiny little sliver with my craft knife and my steel ruler on a cutting mat, and I've decided to open this one on that side there. You'll see at the end it works out quite well, but you know, it's just a bit of trial and error. So I'll just snip that off. Just a little bit of a hint there. I did say earlier also that before you actually stick everything down and do the side pockets, I would go inside these envelopes and just stick down where they've been folded by the machine first off, because when you cut it on a side or somewhere like that, it does, and you want to put a journal card in, it does tend to catch on those little flaps. They flip up like little dog ears and cause a bit of problems when everything's been glued. But it's not a biggie, but it just helps. And then here what I've done is I've got my chosen pieces. I didn't go through all the ephemera. It's just pieces from basically the Graphics Fairy, Antique Papery, Medieval Mirage, and these are images that are just left over from projects, or I printed too many. I printed them on the wrong type of paper. And then there's a little sentiment there I'm going to put on that is from a tag from the Graphics Fair. I just thought it would suit nicely there, sit nicely. So I'm going to speed this up a little bit because all it is inking and, you know, boring stuff like that. So you can see I've cut the flap off there and made it like a hinge. And then I'm going to go ahead and just stick everything on to that little envelope, the pieces that I've chosen. As said previously too, I like to leave a little flap out of the side, because from the back or wherever you're flipping up, it looks like you've made a little tab. And as you'll see, I'm just using my glue stick. It's not anything special. It's just a generic glue stick that I buy from one of the cheap stationery shops here. And if I was going to, for instance, sell this, or I was giving it to somebody, I would use a better brand, or I would use the glitter art glue or something a bit more sturdy, because you don't want it to let go. But this is just for me, for a tutorial purpose, and to show you what I do with these. And so the glue stick that I use is absolutely fine. I just noticed there was a little bit, you'll get that too, things move when you stick and sew and all that sort of thing. It was just a little bit that was hanging over at the edge there, and I just wanted to neaten that up a little bit. I'm just going to put the cinnamon on, and I've got a little piece of snippet of trim there that I wanted to use that I had in my stash. And it will fasten up a little bit soon so that you can just not be bored by all of the sticking and inking. Like I said, it's the I can't think of what that name is, like corduroy or something from Tim Holtz, the ink that I use. I did mention it in the last video. I like it because it's not too dark and not too light, and it gives a very nice aged look, like something's really old. So that's the look I like. And also on that, I've said previously, also, if you don't like flip outs, if you're somebody that likes everything to be measured and in its space, or a more modern look, you can adjust these to whatever you choose to do. You can you know, do it in a more modern cardstock, more modern images, whatever you want to do. So yes, I'll just go through and I'm going to finish off the next two envelopes, ready to put them together, and then I'll do the last video is the last envelope for the top, for the cover, if you like. Just inking up again. That image there is one of my favourites. I use that quite a lot, and I have a lot of her printed out. That wasn't a discarded one or anything. I just wanted to use her somewhere. The one on the front cover is a favourite also, but I'm sorry that I didn't use her further up, because I really like that print. So I'm just sticking all of that down. This is the paper bag, the gusseted bag. It has got a little, where the gusset is at the bottom, where it folds, where it comes out, where you can put more in the bottom. I left that folded and covered it up for this purpose, because it wasn't big enough for a tuck, and I just thought to make it a bit too, fill it out too much. So on the side here, I've used some of my wallpaper snippets, and I'm making that like a tab, so that from the back you can see that there's it's like a little tab. It's a self-formed tab, which is see, it looks really pretty on the back there. I think it does anyway. Just finishes it off, and then I've got a snippet of something that I used on, and it was just a little piece left over, and I've just decided to put it there. I used that spatula that I don't even know what it's called now. It's silicone, I think, and it's marvellous, because I've burnt my fingers so many times with the hot glue that it's just wonderful, that thing. So I use it a lot, and it just helps me a great deal. Now you could also use, you can use whatever glue you like here. I'm using hot glue on this particular part, but you could use fabric glue, the Fabri-Tac type of glue. You could use art glitter glue. It sticks very, very well. I'm going to use it here because I don't feel that the glue stick is strong enough. Even a good quality glue stick I wouldn't use there. You can use double-sided tape, but I'm not a great lover of that. That can let go also, and you want this to stay put on the hinge. So I've used my art glitter glue. It dries instantly. You don't have to use a lot of it, and it works very well for me anyway. So if you don't have that though, you can use PVC glue, any type of glue which that you prefer. So that worked there. Now the next one, I made a little bit of a boo-boo, because I am going to stick everything down on this next envelope, but as you can see, I've got a pretty image there, but I wanted to have her out the side also to be like a flap, but I shouldn't have put her on the same side. Visually she should have been on the left hand side, but then that's where I have my opening. Probably should have made, in hindsight, I should have made it a top opener, and it would have worked really well. But that's the boo-boo I made, because as you'll see, it doesn't want to hinge, it doesn't want to open up. So I had to end up snipping part of her off, but it was fine because the way she's sitting, it was just her along that right side of her, and it didn't actually cause too many problems. But you encounter these sort of things, and this is what it's all about, is using up what you've got. Don't discard it. And even if you don't like the page at the end, you could take that, or that envelope, you could actually take that envelope and send it to someone with a card in it, or you could use it in your journal as a flip out or somewhere like that, and readjust it and put some more things on it. So everything's reusable. So you can see there, I put her at the side there, and I've got a little flap, and I put some of my wallpaper on there. But it didn't work out. So as you can see, I'm just going to finish off putting on the, now that little piece is from the Graphics Fairy from the Jane Austen series. It was a sheet that I am still using, but I just thought that looked nice there. And the beauty of the glue stick is this: you can just take it off and reposition if it's not where you want it. You can't leave it too long though. If you do it straight away, it's very forgiving. So, and that was just a piece of photocopy paper. Cardstock's pretty easy to do. So this is where my boo-boo happened. I've cut off the flap, and you can see the images, they're both on the same side of the page, which wouldn't work. So my boo-boo was not putting the opening at the top of this envelope that I'm holding, and it would have flipped up, and that side piece would have been fine. But as it is, she won't turn. It won't turn. It won't open up easily. So I'm thinking about it. I've decided to put my dangle lace and have a look what it looks like there, hoping that I can come up with a solution, but it's not going to work. So I've decided what I'm going to do is just chop the back of her off. So I'll glue that piece of lace down, and then I will chop it off, and I'll glue that one down too. So let's do that. Once again, you could use your Fabri-Tac glue, or an art glitter glue, PVC, anything would stick that down there. And then, so, still trying. I'm still trying to work out something, because I really like that, the way that looks, but didn't work, so off it comes. And I can use that little piece for a tab somewhere else. It's all good. It didn't make much difference to the look of that page anyway, only that you're seeing two images on the right hand side, which visually to me that doesn't look right. But it's for me, it's not for anybody else, so that's okay. See you next time.